Oh, yeah.
We're on.
We are live. Just letting it finish this upload. There we go. All right. Hey, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Super Trucker podcast. We're coming at you live from Voyager Nation studio here. I've got three semi-handsome gentlemen with me today. I'm going to let each one. They're actually they're dispatchers here at our office. They all have their own group of trucks. They've got a good pulse on the market and some advice and some situations we're probably going to go over today. So feel free to post your questions for them, put them on the spot. We'll see if we can handle it. And guys, why don't you take a second to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ralph.
Hi, my name is Sonny.
My name is Alex.
And I, of course, am Michael. So, guys, right now, we talked about last week a little bit the market, the little lull that happens right after January. Christmas freight was pushing. How are your drivers dealing with that? Are they affected by that? Is there anybody panicking, or is everybody kind of used to this by now and we're able to kind of know that this is really not that big of a deal and we're going to push through it with no problem?
It really depends most of the time. It's obviously it's hard for everyone to come off that.
Probably get a little closer to the mic.
It's hard to come off that, those great rates and that high that we all had from an awesome rates, and we had that feeling of getting, going anywhere, making whatever rates we can find.
You're good. Keep talking.
All right. It was anywhere you go, you could go get rates and get grid rates, but right now, it's hard for everyone to accept that it's happening, but it is. But it's nothing new, it happens after Christmas every year.
Yeah, it's every year the same thing. Even with the weather and drivers, they just can't get used to that February change.
Yeah.
Usually lasts about 3-4 weeks either way, but it seems like they keep forgetting about it every year. You just have to kind of remind them.
It just reminds, it's nothing permanent anyway, or shape or form. It's just temporary, and it's there.
You also got to explain to your drivers too. There's not a lot of volume being pushed right now into the market after Christmas. All the drivers go home, so the market's going to respond to that accordingly. So there's not a lot of volume out there.
They all came. The drivers came back, and the loads went down. So you're going to have a lot of people driving during that Christmas year.
Right, so shippers understand that. They know that there's going to be that, and they don't want to be that guy that's caught trying to buy a truck for the one guy that did stay out, because that can get quite expensive. So, can say that's one tip right there, guys. If you're an owner-operator and you have the opportunity to stay out sometimes during the holiday season, I mean, I wouldn't suggest both because everybody has family, but if you can do one or the other, sometimes being that truck that's available can be very lucrative. I would think that was for the guys that did run during some of the, if they were just taking Christmas and Christmas Eve off, and not that full 2 weeks.
You take a couple days off for family and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
No, Christmas Day there wasn't too many. But if you're available during Christmas Day, I mean, you'll get paid a little bit more if there is a.
Sure.
I mean, if we talk about about a month before Christmas and a couple weeks after Christmas, as long as you run those 6 weeks right there, I think you make up all that money from before, then, because the rates are not going to be as good afterwards. So it makes up for it as long as you run and as long as you.
Yeah, the only thing we would suggest with the driver just to stay patient. Even if you gotta understand, if we offer you 2-3 loads, that's already capping it right now. Might not be a 4-4. You might lose a day. You might accept that because maybe that day you don't really feel like.
Okay, so let's talk about that point right there, guys. Yeah. So Sonny's bringing up a point. He's saying that when the market's strong and you're working for a company like Voyager that's not forced dispatch, you may have the opportunity to say no to a couple loads till you're kind of cherry picking and find that right one that lines up with you. But when the market tightens up a little bit, I think this is where communication and trust becomes a big factor, because they kind of got to believe in you guys and say, when you say, listen, man, stop the BS. Today's not the day. Let's not play around. Let's not lose this opportunity. When I'm telling you we should take this load, we should take this load. And so how does that affect you guys mentally? Because a lot of times we have drivers on. A lot of times we have people that are in the industry or whatever that's not on your side. It's not very often that we stop and get a chance to talk to the guys who are booking the freight, building the relationships with the drivers. So we'll start with you, Alex. What do you feel like when you're scraping, fighting tooth and nail to get that load, and then you feel and you know it's the best, you offer it to a driver, and he just says, go fly a kite. You know what I mean? Like, how do you bounce back from that? And what's some pointers that other dispatchers that may see this, or if drivers are watching this, they could share with their dispatchers to kind of help them get through that, so that the team remains successful on both sides.
Yeah, for me, some of my guys just got to sit them down and just explain to them. I said, listen, they just, like I said, before, there's not a lot of volume going on right now, so the market is going to respond accordingly.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just got to go where the money's at. I know, for example, going into like Indiana, like before Christmas, the Midwest is where everyone wants to be at. Going to the Midwest, there wasn't a lot of volume out there right now, so the rates are going to be a little bit not as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
But you always just got to chase the money, go where the money's going towards, and then just make the most of each area you're in, and just really have a strategy too, and not to get like so alarmed with the rates that we're handing out to you guys.
Right. Okay. Sonny, what would you say that you've been fighting tooth and nail for that load that day because of the situation? The driver's in a certain area where it is kind of tight. Now you finally feel like something you found that is going to make him successful, going to start his week off right, and he just has no interest in the load at all. How do you respond to that to keep it positive and keep both of you guys focused?
Well, first thing I try to explain to him that's like the best I have available, and if he don't take it, we might be out of luck and I have nothing else. If he chooses to go the route and still not accept the load, I'm gonna try also forget about it and just keep looking. And if there is no load, I mean, I offered him the best load there is. So if I offer him a couple of more and he says no, like I said, then it's not much you can do. It's just not gonna be no load. He can't be really mad at you because you're doing your job as it is, but then again, losing that day in that area might not be a good idea because tomorrow is going to be the same thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think losing a day is detrimental to anybody's success for the week. I mean, you need to try to stay strong and focused, and you don't want to get to that point where you argue back and forth, but sometimes it's a dire situation where you have to really get that point across to the driver and say, look, man, I know I've told you before things are tight, but I'm telling you today you have to trust me. And Ralph, how would you say is a good way of building that trust with that driver where he has confidence that when you say this is what needs to happen, he can really know that you're offering him the best and not second guess you so much?
I think it comes over time. I don't think it happens in one day or one load, or it's kind of as long as a dispatcher, when you hold, obviously you're trying to make that driver money, and that's, at the end of the day, that's your goal. It's to make sure that the driver makes money, everyone is happy, and everyone is doing what they need to be doing. But I think over time, when a week goes by, a couple of weeks goes by, and the driver sees that you have his best interest in mind every time you offer him a load. You don't call him about first load that you see on the board. And that's another thing that I have to also explain to some of my drivers sometimes is that I'm not calling you about a first load I see on the board.
Because they can automatically assume that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they can
absolutely.
assume that you
it
guys
can be
just
assumed,
sit there, you make one phone call, it sounds decent, no negotiation happens, and you're like, hey, Bob, I got a load for you. Here you go. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's not the case. First of all,
hey, if ever a load I called on was the best load right away, that would have been that would be nice.
Usually when they're in a dire spot, also it's like it's not the first load. We call the day before, and sometimes we'll leave it for the next day thinking it might go up, and it doesn't. And then when we call you with the similar load, or maybe the same load that's still there, and they're not paying more, you should probably take that load because we tried the day before. Probably you can check our phones. We probably make like 100, 200 calls a day. They'll just sit there. There's no point. Like he said, if the driver sits and doesn't trust you, you lose a day. We lose money. He loses money. At the end of the day, nobody's making money. So what's the point?
Yeah, if the wheels are not moving, nobody's making money. At the end of the day, so sometimes it's just you have to move and go.
The thing is, you got $1,500 to pay, let's say PA or something like that. Well, you know it's not going to be $1,500 back. Like, don't expect that.
Right. So set realistic expectations,
Yes,
and I think
especially for February. Let's just remember it's February. It's not April where the produce season starts. It's not Christmas.
Yeah.
It's just April. Like it's just gonna be like a month, and we'll be good. The rates are gonna start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a couple questions.
Yeah.
All right. So and comments. Apparently, it's the Three Stooges, maybe 4. So my next question I see here is, what's a good rate? man, somebody's being dirty. What's a good rate per mile from Florida right now? Not last week, right now.
$1 a mile, and you're rolling like
If
a
you
boss.
got
You're
a dollar,
rolling like a boss.
if you got $1 a mile, I actually had a driver call me today, and it was funny. It's actually, well, I'm gonna actually name it since he's watching. It's Scott. Scott. All right. So he calls me today. He's like, "Hey, I saw a load out of Florida," and he's like, "No way, they're paying so low." I was like, "What?" He said it's 1,100 miles out of Florida or something like that. Go 1,150 on the loaded miles out of Florida going to Illinois, and before he even said the rate, I said 900. I mean, I'm assuming that's what they're paying because that's what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
He's like $1,200. I'm like, oh my God, that's good. He's like, no way, that's good. I'm like, yes, it is.
That's great.
Right there, that load right there, that's a good load out
Especially
of Florida.
to Illinois.
Yes, especially to
When
Illinois.
they're paying to Oklahoma the same $1 a mile, out of Oklahoma, you're not going to get what you get.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to be in Oklahoma right now. So. But yeah, no. So it's yeah. I mean, I think it's all depends on where you're going. I think now.
I think if you get $1, you're golden. If you get 90 cents, I mean, if it's something short, it's okay. You know, you're gonna.
As long as it gets you out of Florida,
Oh,
that's just the end of the day. That's what it is.
All right, that was just the first question. I was breaking the ice kind of easy on here.
Oh,
They're only getting harder after this.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, I guess to answer that question, what's a good rate out of Florida right now?
Whatever gets you out of it.
no-
Whatever gets you out of it. That's probably
There's
the
never
best.
no such thing as a good rate out of Florida. Let's see here. Next in line is going to be I like tacos.
Okay, I like to.
I don't know how you
I
guys
like
feel about
tacos as
tacos.
well.
All
I
right.
love
Okay.
tacos.
All right.
Pretty good.
Steak and preferably.
Yep. Tacos are good. Is this the mafia? It could be.
It could be.
Here's the next question: Is the myth true that if the driver asks to go home, you send him in the opposite direction?
No, actually, a
Never.
Voyager,
No.
we very accommodating. If you gotta go home, we're gonna do our absolutely best, and we're never gonna send you the opposite direction. Maybe as close as we can, or maybe directly there.
Okay, I will go on record and say I have heard people say that if they live in Florida, you send them to Washington. Is that's on the way to home? That's on the way. That's en route to home, right? I don't know.
I mean, it's somewhere.
I
there,
won't
right?
mention any
I mean,
names.
from there, I think you can turn back, right? I mean, I don't know, but it's we can offer you at least like I can say what we do is that let's say you said you needed to be home out of nowhere, you needed to be home Thursday. And I could probably offer you, maybe I can get you home Thursday, but if I can get you home Friday, I can get you more money. It's up to you if you want to do it or not, but I can offer you more money, and it's not going to be, obviously, it's not going to be forced dispatch, but I will always come up with an idea. We all do. So, like, come up with an idea would just make you more money.
Yeah, the good thing about the Florida guys, if you go home, you're gonna
You
get
make your
some
money,
money
right?
regardless, exactly.
That's where you make your money, going home. You know.
So that's a key point. So for a guy that says, "Hey man, listen, I need to be home on a Thursday," you could just go ahead and book the load and then bring it home for a Thursday. That is an option. However, one of the key things is to say, find out why they need to go home. Weigh the importance of what it is that's taking them home.
Yeah.
Is this just like home time? Is there a family emergency? Is there something you have to do on a Thursday? Can we make it a Friday afternoon and then you have a Monday delivery there you have a weekend load so you don't lose any time at all? So I think educating them and giving them options and saying, look, and I don't mean that educating them in a derogatory manner. I'm saying, look, these are the options that I can get you. I can have you home Thursday morning. I can have you home Thursday night. Perhaps we could be home Friday night, whatever you want to do. But by doing that, I'm going to be able to extend more financial gain to you if that's something that you're looking to do. Again, it all has to do with the reason of why they're coming home.
Absolutely.
So that's good dialogue. Let's see if we have anything
I mean,
else.
also, they gotta also remember how long is the guy been. You've been dispatching. How long he's been on the road? He's been on the road for 2 weeks. Asking to go home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you
Yeah,
home
I'm
as fast as I can.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna. I'm probably not even gonna ask you because the guy was 2 weeks on the road. Like he did. He
No,
had
yeah.
things to do.
So
Yeah.
the same thing. If I have guys that would run a month or two out, and then when they go home, they're like, "Hey, I gotta be home Wednesday, and I'll stay home Wednesday, and they come out Monday." I mean, you've been out for 2 months.
What's a good question to
You
ask?
did your thing.
Let's say they have been out for 2 weeks and they're looking to come home.
Yes.
Totally understand it. What's a good question to ask though as soon as they tell you that?
What's a good question to ask? Just say.
In your opinion, like what to continue their success here?
I ask all the time, when are you coming out?
Yeah, I always say, how long are you going to be home for?
When you coming out? I mean, it's because if we especially right now, I mean, Florida has always been pretty much always been besides like a month
Watermelon season.
for produce season.
Yeah.
You know, So as more heads up the dispatcher has is when you're coming out, the better chance we have actually finding you a good fitting load for
Because
you.
we'll post you as soon as you're
He would post you.
Wednesday. You're empty. We'll post you Wednesday and just
Yeah.
keep looking.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So trying to just also work, engage with the audience here. Ralph told me a minimum of 4 to 5 weeks out before home. Yeah, I mean, that's Ralph for you. I mean, that's why he's over in the corner, Scott, because he's not a good boy. So there you go. So going home to go to the strip club isn't a good reason.
I mean,
no,
it's not.
no.
I mean, unless you invite us.
Oh Lord Jesus, help us all. No, it's not.
Am I participating in that? I don't know.
Well, hopefully he had a strong week.
Are you paying for it?
So what's the going rate for detention paid? I mean, is that pretty much standard across the board? Do you guys see ups and downs? Anybody paying better than
It's
others?
It's like 20 to 50.
Yeah, it's always
At 20
50.
is the lowest. I've barely seen anyone paying 20
There's
anymore.
one broker that constantly pays 20. I forgot.
Do we name drop or no?
No.
Do we just
No.
say
I
crap?
forgot to be honest.
But
Yeah.
it's normally from 25 to 50. 50 being the max I've seen so far.
What's some strong detention that you've seen? Do we have any 75 an hour?
I don't think I've seen 75. I've seen
50.
50 is the max I've seen.
And
And
then there's some good companies they don't cap out. So if you
yeah,
stay
yeah, yeah.
there
So
all
like,
night,
you're there for 9 hours and they give you 7 hours. There's 350
Yeah,
for just
350.
sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want you to sit there. Obviously, 350 is not equal to 800 that you could have made by driving.
Right, because
But-
a lot of companies, once you hit a certain amount, you're just getting a layover.
Yeah,
anyway.
absolutely.
They cut
Yeah.
you off.
But some
Yeah.
companies don't. And
Yeah.
there's not a lot of those out there. But
well,
yeah.
what I recommend, like our owner operators, we do send them the Raycon, and on each of the Raycons, it actually explains all that. Usually, if
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them are like.
So most of-
Yeah.
most of the time they do, and if they read it, I'm bet my word on it, we will get you more than what the Raycon says all the time. Because
Yeah.
we'll fight for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Every minute, because it is bad if you lose a day. Let's say he delivers at 11 and you got empty at 5. Now you have no load. You lost a day for 3 hour detention,
Yeah.
60 to $100. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is that really realistically?
So
fair?
I'll ask a question. There's good questions coming up, but since we're on this topic, as a dispatcher that 100% dispatches only owner operators, no company drivers, no customer freight, what point do you pull a driver off of a load because it's now not making any sense? By the time he's burning his hours, like you said, the detention is not worth it. You possibly could lose the detention if you leave. But do you ever pull a driver off of a load just because now maybe let's say it's a strong load next day, 580 miles, and now it's creeping up to 3-4 o'clock. His shift's caught up with his drive, and he's got 3.5 hours left, and this load's supposed to deliver to a grocery warehouse no later than 10 a.m.
Oh, no, absolutely. That
chances
one right
are
there?
it's not going to
Oh, yeah.
happen. What do you do in that
I
situation?
would first talk to the broker, see about how he's familiar with that customer, and if he is able to reschedule delivery, because there's no way we're gonna make it. Let him know right away when it hits that 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's done. So let's say we stay another hour and a half, the broker comes back. Oh, I got you a new delivery that day. I'd rather stay on that load, because if you come off on it at 3 p.m., you might not get nothing, but like this, you'll get the detention and delivery. But now if the broker comes back and says, I can get your delivery, now you can at least get a truck order not used, because you can't complete this load. And the broker is not going to even
Not
send
but
you that.
not like anyone be able to do it
Yeah.
at that point. You know what I mean?
So-
That's the. It's not like we can do it. It's that no one can do it
No
at
one
that
can
point.
do that
Yeah.
load, so they're going to have to reschedule the whole thing.
Yeah. So it's not
So you at least get the truck order not used, and you can still look for a load, which makes sense. But like you say, if he has 2-3 hours left on his log, that's
Yeah, options are going to
Oh,
be
very
limited.
complicated.
It's all
but you
about
got to be
the
careful
situation.
because of the situation. You
Absolutely.
get a guy who can't get a delivery, and now he's on this load and it's fully loaded. He's halfway there, and they go, "Oh, by the way, your delivery's 4 days from now."
Oh, absolutely.
You
You
see
know,
what
you
I'm
got to
saying?
be very
You've
careful.
lost a week
Yeah.
over one load that was 3 hours, 4 hours
Oh
worth
no,
of detention.
absolutely, yeah.
But like, to be honest with you, like that really doesn't happen that often.
No, but
That's
it's
like
just
one
a
of
the-
it's a judgment call.
One in the
Um,
blue moon, and
It's a hard
with-
call
with-
to make, definitely, because at that point it's you.
If
it's-
you know the broker, though, you should be able to like, fuck it.
Yeah,
it's
as
not
long as you
much.
communicate with the
250 a
broker,
day is
right.
not what, like he said. He's
Yeah.
not gonna make one
Yeah.
load. But you should be able, and the driver should understand. Like, you drove the whole year. This happened once. Like, nothing we can do. We don't want to lose a driver over that, but it happens.
It unfortunately does happen. Let's say if you have a delivery to places like family, decent, Dollar
General.
General.
Walmart has gotten good about this.
Walmart is not bad about rescheduling, being like here and there.
No, but we know
Sam's
there's
Club is
You do Publix.
There's
you do,
certain
you do
places
Aldi's,
that-
you know
yeah.
you don't want to, if you know right there you cannot make it before you give the load back. I say if for some reason you have to do that, you always weigh the options are. Let's say it's 1 p.m. You're still not loaded, but you're in Chicago, and you know you have options. You know what I mean? Right there, you can pull them out no problems. But you're like 1 p.m. You're in Mobile, Alabama.
So in that
let's say, or
situation,
something like that.
who becomes the most important person? Who do you look out for the most?
Oh no, the driver, absolutely.
Like
At that point is that
What's going to be the most money we're going to be able to make if we pull off or we stay on it? But if you can't, like you said, if you can't reschedule, you already asked the broker at 1. By 3, you don't give you an answer and you're still not being loaded, you're done.
yeah.
Even if you're
You got
you're
3
done.
options at that point. I feel like you either come off the loader and do something else, you stay on load and you get delivery appointment that is good for invoice for your driver, or third, which is at least my favorite one, but it's better than getting stuck with the load for 4 days. And if you're in the area, it's 2 p.m. Let's say you're in a place like Birmingham, Alabama, place I know for fact that there's not a lot of late shippers in Alabama. You're pretty much stuck most of the time. There's barely any, and I would rather you lose a day than you lose 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good thing that you can do just for pointers and ideas for dispatchers out there or for drivers that dispatch themselves, if you're in that situation and your shift clock's caught up with your drive, it's calculating down, you're very limited to what you can do. You can't take that long load. Sometimes just taking those little short lanes, 20, 30, 40, 50-mile lanes that can pay $250 or something like that. I know it's not much, but it allows you to be able to do that and put something on the truck. It's a little bit of help. Plus,
nothing.
if you add it with the
absolutely.
truck order not
At
used,
that
if you can get a
point,
tow new.
If I was a driver, like you said, or
Do
be
something
happy
at
with
all costs.
making $100
My belief is
instead
to
of
do
nothing.
something. I mean, losing a day with no revenue at all is like the worst case
Even
scenario.
if you cover
Yes.
just your fuel, but you get yourself in a little bit better area, like 100 miles north,
Right.
without going empty.
Or you find a load that's picking up tomorrow that is, let's say, 700 loaded miles, but it's picking up 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Right.
So at that point, you know you can be there first thing in the morning, and you
fresh
can
hours.
in
have
fresh
the hours to
hours
make it,
and
yeah.
be able to.
Especially if it's a first come
So
first serve
it's
delivery.
all about it's all about trying to figure out what you can do.
Or
You know?
if there is nothing now, you're empty and you're about 200 miles from a way better area. You might make that, like, it's hard to get the driver, but you might make that deadhead because that load, even with the deadhead, might pay $2 and it'd be worth it for you
Yes,
to do.
Right.
absolutely.
So the goal is there's always options
Yes.
of some sort. It is so rare that you're in a situation where there's no options. So when I get guys calling into the company looking to come on board, and I sit down with them and I ask them what's the need for the change or what's driving them to us or whatever it may be, what's pulling them from their other company, one of the things they mention a lot of times is like, I've been setting for 2 or 3 days. My first question is that even possible? Like, how in the world are you just turning down every load that's being offered to you? I mean, you're an owner operator working for a company, at least they're making money when you make money, and you are setting for 2 or 3 days. My mind is blown. Like, I mean, I'm like, that's
that
impossible.
sounds crazy,
I
yeah.
get it. Like, the worst case scenario, every now and then something happens. You're either doing a small load or you're trying to make up for it the next day. But to go 2 and 3 days without loads would be
That's
absolutely
too much.
crazy.
I mean, without you know.
Even out of Florida, we don't do that.
Oh no, yeah. Right.
So another question that came up is, do you? This is from Jack. Do you guys send your drivers to the Northeast, or is it no force dispatch?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
we do send.
no force dispatch. If the driver don't want to go, we can't send him.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go there, he doesn't feel comfortable, fine, we're not gonna send you there. But the reasoning usually is no northeast during the winter time.
Mhm.
Usually a lot of guys will go during regular time where there's no snow. If you offer them really good load, they will go. Usually they pay pretty good. to
Oh
go
no,
northeast.
I like me personally as a dispatcher. I love Northeast because here's why. You go
He's
to.
about to be shot right now.
I need that.
Yeah, there's gonna be like 900 comments to say.
It's all about being smart with Northeast
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You can't send every driver to Philly. That's not right. You know what I mean? That right there, there's multiple highways that have a lot of tolls, this and that. You know, you as a dispatcher, you learn it over time, and you know where to send them, where not. You know, but I.
Ralph said, I mean, Scott said, trust me, I know this, Ralph. So, I love the Northeast.
Well, it's all about because most right now, for example, in the market that's rough, it really makes sense because let's say you let's say I was actually just talking to Alex about this today. Let's say we're in Ohio, right? And you as a driver that has barely any hours today left, and he needs to do a short run, and he has like 6 hours of drive, and you try to find like a 300-mile run for him for today. You are from Ohio. You go into Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh is not the worst area of PA. It's a decent area.
Right next to Ohio.
Right there. For that 300 miles, right now in this market, you can probably still get $800 to $1,000. And right there, that, and out of Pittsburgh, for example, you can still get a decent rate per mile.
Yeah.
So if it makes sense, I think it should be done. And I like utilizing that, having to dip into Northeast a little bit and get out of there right away.
And also, like, for Northeast coming out, there's always loads.
Absolutely.
You're
not. So how about you, Alex? I mean, you got a guy who's saying, maybe he's new to your board, he's saying, no Northeast, no Northeast. Do we just listen to it? I mean, because we're not forced dispatch, but do we compromise? What would you suggest to someone out there?
Personally, when I get a driver, I always tell him, like, listen, I'm always going to try to be as accommodating as I can with you, buddy. I mean, if you don't want to go to PA, then, hey, we'll try to send you PA. But if we get in an area where only going to PA makes sense, if I can strategize and get you a load going to PA, then coming out of PA right away, I mean, I see no excuse why we can't go, make it work.
So what if, so if one of it just all kind of depends on their concerns. If it's weather, obviously there's nothing you can do about that. Yeah, if it's tolls, you look at, other options.
Different areas.
If it's, hey, don't send me to the island, well, the island is a very, very tiny part of the Northeast, and it doesn't control the whole Northeast. So what about Buffalo, Lancaster, Rochester, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we hug them to our left side of the state, left side of PA, left side of New York.
There's always options. So I think it's being adaptable, being pliable, having them to be pliable for you two so that you guys can work together. And then you also, I think, as dispatchers need to listen to the drivers. I think you need to hear what they got to say, take to heart what they got to say, and really try your best to work around their needs and their concerns, and understand that we all know this, right? Like, one driver is not the same as the next driver, and you can't, they don't wear all the same size pants, you know what I mean? You gotta, they're all different sizes, and you have to address that in different ways. So one guy may love the Northeast, send me around, let's bounce around, hey, let's go all the way West Coast, where another guy, it does not. So
I mean, if it stresses out the driver, and he's,
well, there's certain drivers you're not gonna
and if it's not for them, and if it's completely it's not an option, then if you send the driver there, I mean, but he makes money, but he's still not happy, he's still not. What's the point? That kind of defeats the purpose of the entire thing.
We don't really want them to drive where they're not comfortable.
Yeah,
right. It's just the comfortable factor, because like PA and in New York, like there's bridges and all that stuff that concerns a lot of drivers, and the highway's a little bit more tighter than some guys just don't feel comfortable. And by us knowing that he doesn't go to PA, maybe when we send him to Ohio, we got to look to pre-book something where they're more comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is morale. I mean, you got to remember this guy. This guy's got a lot of windshield time. He's away from his his family and his home, and now he's asking something of you. You're telling him, hey, trust the process. I saw your trucker podcast and blah blah blah, and all you guys say trust the process, and now I'm trying to trust it. And I told you what I needed and what I wanted and how I wanted to operate, and it was all fine. And now I'm out here with you, and I'm in your hands, and it's completely different, right? So like, how do you address that? Because sometimes there may be that need to go somewhere that maybe we didn't discuss, and can you present it in a way that it's an option, like A, B, and C?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
You can always be like, toss it in there, be like, hey, listen, Ohio to PA, 1,500, bro, like, that's a lot of money. Maybe you want to, it's 10,000 pounds. Look, it's not even heavy, so you won't feel the mountains and
absolutely,
stuff. And maybe he'll just say yes, because I have like a driver that's only like local pretty much. And one time we sent him to PA because it just made sense. It just was too much money not to say no.
I think it's all about just having a game plan. Just saying, hey, I'm not going to send you PA, just send you PA. I have an exit strategy.
Well, think about it. If Illinois to Philly, they're paying $2,500, I mean, come on, bro, like.
You
kind of like, please don't make me
get about
I already booked it, but I'm not
good about it. Some guy, I'm not sure who this is, he says, I like forced dispatch, I like it rough.
Well, hey.
Well, I mean,
it makes two of us.
You will love me.
Makes two of us.
So, I mean,
yeah.
Well, there's all types of different personalities. Like, even with some guys, you have to argue to get the point across. Some guys are very easily going. Like he said, there's all different types of personality, and we have to be able to read them and accustomate to them, and try to be like figure them out. And then if we get close to the relationship, usually they'll stay. Even when the market's bad, they're gonna complain. Everybody's gonna bitch. Even we as dispatchers fucking. but you know
That happens here?
We'll get through it. Yeah, it happens just like that.
See, I've been gone doing this podcasting. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, you don't hear the phone.
So like
slap.
so on a so on a
Marcus like, I'm gonna buy another phone.
so on a fun note, what would you say, Ralph, is something about you that your drivers would never know? In case any of them watch this, a little fun fact about you.
Fun fact about me: the drivers would never know.
Did you just say he likes guys?
Fun fact about I'm.
They already all knew that. That cat's out of the
They
bag.
totally knew that part. I mean, yeah.
He's been touching me the whole
I don't know, man. Your fur is touching the hell. So, I don't know, man. I think because I'm Russian. I don't know. There's that.
All right. Yeah.
I'm
Some guys
Russian,
may not
yeah.
know the weird accent. Probably never gave it
Yeah,
away.
yeah. I mean,
All right.
I've been brought from Russia, to America.
You're a Russian bride.
Yep. Russian mail order bride, but a male one. I don't know. That's how it works, I guess.
I don't know. I haven't been
This guy, I think he's like the original super trucker or something like this. He's on here talking about I think all dispatchers want to haul cheap freight, cheaper the better. This guy's a troll right here.
man.
Like seriously.
I mean, if you got 80 cents a mile out of, like right now, 80 cents a mile out of Indiana to Louisiana, sign me up.
Yeah, there
Let's
you go.
do that.
There you go.
Let's do that.
Do you guys allow drivers to see the rate cons?
Absolutely.
Oh, we send them the whole thing. So
I
they
want
can
them to look at
even
it.
call the broker, check
The rate cons?
The rate
Yeah.
cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, we're still on your what they didn't know about me
We
segment.
want them to look at the rate
Rate
cons
cons.
because I mean, here's the thing: as a dispatcher, you look over every single rate con. Let's say you operated 9-10 drivers, and you look over every single rate con, you make sure everything is good, and you let them know. And obviously, but you also, I feel like as a driver, you also need to do that because it's
They
your
need to
business.
look-
At the end of the
yeah.
day, at the end of the day, yes, I'm here to help you out with your business. But it's your business at the end of the day, and I think if you don't look over the Raycon, I think that's kind of putting your own business into jeopardy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like one time I booked a load. I've been doing this for 10 years. I booked a load and it was delivery, not the day we talked about, but the broker sent it and I totally missed it. And luckily the driver checks it. So I double checked and they only can deliver that day. So we're not going to do like 400-mile load, deliver 2 days.
2-day transit, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I have to give it back to the dude because that's not what we talked to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's great. Go over, call the broker.
yeah,
do whatever
definitely.
you
Yeah.
need.
So we got another question here. Nick is asking, do you find that it's harder to find drivers willing to go to the boroughs? So yeah, that whole area,
New York Island?
yeah, Jersey, all that kind of stuff. So what would
Oh,
you,
it's hard. I mean,
what would you
but
say
we
your
don't really-
percentages of guys that you have on your board that would be willing to go?
Now?
25%,
Zero.
Yeah,
25%,
0,
maybe
1.
One guy.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
so
out
I
of-
would
out of-
say it can be. Yeah.
I had like 5 years ago a guy who would
Yeah.
go constantly to the island. That was awesome.
Another question is, how many different brokers do you use, and how many different load boards do you work with? So I'm going to answer this question and solve it for everybody. There's I don't know who the guy is that you guys let me hear the rap song, but he's like a lot. I did a lot. A lot. We work with
Everything
a
that's available.
we work with a lot of
Pretty much.
brokers.
We
We
got
work
the broker
with
websites, the
Yes.
regular websites.
we have all the major load boards along with every load board that any major broker also offers,
Yes.
because sometimes they can have that information on
Inside,
there.
they don't post
Yeah,
it.
before
Like
it hits
CH don't
DAT.
post
So
it.
you have your usual DAT, which then truckers goes down to Trucker's Edge and so on. And but we don't use that. We use the regular DAT 360. We use Truck Stop, all the usuals. But we also have Navisphere, JB Hunt 360, Coyotes board, Convoys
Yeah, 'cause
board.
they don't post all
I like Echo Drive a lot.
Echo,
Echo
yeah,
Drive.
and then we have representatives at most of those companies that we just name because we're tier carrier for them, so we have our own
But they
contact.
also look for us too. So.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
they'll
yeah,
reach
yeah.
out to us. Mr. Mukow and friends says, what about permits? We have that taken care of. We have this wonderful person in our company. Won't mention any names, but they take care of that for us. It's just kind of whose responsibility to make sure that we let them know about that ahead of time.
Yeah.
That would be whose responsibility?
Our responsibility.
Oh, yeah, there you go, boys.
The
Okay.
drivers.
No, yeah, I mean sometimes it gets it's because there's only a couple states that really need it. You know, it's what? Oregon, New Mexico, New York.
No, it's good about Oregon. You get once a year.
Oregon, New Mexico, New York. I think that's it, right? That's
New York.
So
Everybody gets New York.
I'm going to ask you guys a personal question. I hope you don't get offended by it. Just be honest, and if yours isn't quite there, then it's okay. But in order, what would you be say your highest gross ever was?
Oh,
what's your
we're
highest
measuring
gross?
now?
Yeah, I want to. I mean, how big is your gross?
How
then?
big is my gross?
What's the biggest one you've ever had?
Are we talking 2018 or
Driver or-
of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah,
driver?
one driver for the week.
One driver.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about total.
Yeah, because that don't matter. Because people have different amounts of drivers, so you can't do that. One driver for the week.
We're talking Monday to Monday, right?
Normal week,
No,
Monday through Sunday.
Well, I mean picked up, but I mean
Yeah, pick
delivered
up Monday
Monday.
through
Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
I think the biggest I ever had was. It was very close to 7,000. It was about.
I think you went over 7 because we did a video on.
Oh
on
yeah,
YouTube
72 or 7300. Yeah, that was one on time. Yeah.
What was his name?
I think that was Scott.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that was Scott.
Scott was your biggest guy ever.
Scott is the biggest grosser that I ever had. In my life.
Congratulations, Sonny. What's the biggest you've ever had?
Well, since we gotta talk about this, probably.
I think Scott is very disappointed in me now. I think he's gonna be really mad, and let me know later that I totally forgot about that.
It was like 85.
85.
But it wasn't. It was back.
That's
back,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, back in the day, you had a bigger one, and your gross was big then.
I mean, you get older,
strength
strength.
A little bit older.
We're still talking about gross, fellas.
Yeah,
How about you, Alex? What's the biggest? I thought you threw one up a couple weeks ago that was
Yeah,
pretty
it was
nice.
67.
67.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
close to 7.
All right.
That's good.
So
I mean,
pretty
it's manageable. It's doable.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
pretty strong.
Yeah, it's always. And I think mine was during right after Christmas week. It was good times. It was good times.
Listen, here's my philosophy on it, guys. This is to dispatchers and to owner operators. It don't matter what time of the year it is. If the iron is hot, you strike, okay? And if you can do it then, if it's Christmas, whatever, there's no excuses because I can promise you that in that same market frame that you're talking about, I can assure that if we go back to the time frame that Sonny got his 85, there was people sitting right next to him probably at that time that weren't grossing that high because it takes a caliber of person, the driver and the dispatcher that comes together to form a perfect team to strike when that iron's hot and make those kinds of numbers. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about drive-in, no reefer, no nothing, no
Absolutely,
flatbed,
yeah.
no produce. We don't haul any produce,
This one
any
guy
of that.
that came back to drive for us. Well, he made 7, but it was Tuesday delivery. But he made 7 in this market.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome. Yeah. No, I mean,
So,
But he was open to go to Washington.
he was able to go to
Not Florida.
No, no,
It was the other way. Like Mike said, the other way.
So a good question here is, and this has been a big dilemma, gross with ELD, is it less, more? Has the ELD affected it? I know some of you guys may have not been in the same market doing the same thing at this point, but what would be your thoughts on that?
Well, when it got introduced in 2018, it bumped up everything. Everything was crazy.
everyone wanted better rates for shorter miles. So
Yeah, because now you got a guy that could technically, he could do 900 miles next day, and now that 900 miles is a 2-day transit. Nothing changed rate-wise. Even if they got a good rate, say 18 to 19 on it, and the guy's like, man, that's what I did in a day. I can't do that for a 2-day transit. I want 25, and the money's not there. Just because the market changes because of electronic tracking devices, which they should have been technically running illegally. Anyways, but, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I mean, that numbers that we said were numbers that were while running ELD,
Yes.
while running ELD.
Yeah,
We've been running ELD
and it's
Since the
while
beginning. Yeah.
while
for a long time, longer than that now.
Longer than
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I mean,
been a while.
we didn't wait till the last minute. We were
were
already on point.
compliant.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
compliant from the beginning.
it's with. I think the number I even said. I'm pretty sure, and Scott did mention that I have a short-term memory loss, but.
I don't think Scott's ELD works.
I'm pretty sure
it's off.
So I mean, it's with the ELD and with the restart. That's what it is. It's not.
Yeah. So I mean,
So,
so to be clear, guys, for anybody that's watching this and you're like, my truck does this and that, that's great. I mean, we're not trying to compare numbers. It was just a question that came up. We're just trying to be honest and answer them. We're certainly not saying that someone couldn't do more than that or
Absolutely.
whatever the case may be. So not trying to start anything there, but however, just sharing some of our success. at the end of the day, these numbers were done with restarts. We do a 34-hour restart every weekend, so our guys start fresh on 70 with them on Monday. And that's just how we run. I mean, and that's kind of the circumstances. So obviously that comes into play. Another question comes up: how many trucks are on each of your boards? I would say that kind of would be a question. I would say we try not to do over 10, somewhere between 8 to 10, 7 to 10, and that allows us to give the driver that personal touch to be able to communicate with them. You start getting into the 12, 13, 14, 15 guys, man, you're pulling your hair out if they're all running, and I'm not able to give you the service that you deserve. Listen, I've said it 1,000 times. Anybody out there that's watching this or sharing this video, here at Voyager, we're susceptible to the same kind of market that everybody else is. We got the same load boards that everybody else is. So the only thing I can do to make us different is take us to that next level and give you that personal white glove service. Be there for you. When my phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to answer it. Yes, we're sleeping, but we're going to wake up. We're going to help you. We're going to do whatever we can. We're there with you always. So
Lumpers, I hate them.
Yeah, those lumpers are like always at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what it is.
Deliveries are my favorite.
Should I call Mike?
Yeah, Aldi's delivery are my favorite.
So we had a lot of good questions, guys. We appreciate everybody participating. But I do want to finish the quick segment, though. We asked you what's something your drivers may not know about you, and you said that you're Russian.
Yeah.
How about you, Sonny? Something your guys doesn't know about you?
I used to drive the truck also.
Oh, you used to be a driver. Okay. So see
Like
there.
a long time ago.
Hey, but that's something that if you don't come up in the conversation, people may not know about you. How about you, Alex?
Well, the fact that I can speak English, a lot of my drivers don't think I can because I mumble a lot on the phone.
You said that you can or can't speak.
There you go.
I didn't quite understand what he said.
what he
I was like, someone like English. What Alex is saying is English is a second language.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Mumble is his first.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Alex had a lot of marbles in his mouth.
Kept all up.
Yeah. Let's see. Fun fact. I like a lot of politics. I keep up with it. A lot of people know that about me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So any of my drivers listen. You want to talk politics to me? I'm the guy.
And he doesn't have any gray hair.
Until they say I'm a Democrat. And you're like, what? What? You're gonna get $1.50
I was
figure
gonna
it
ask him,
out.
are you a Democrat? I might have to kick you.
That ends that.
So who's going to PA?
No. So there's some questions and some concerns circulating throughout the YouTube community on the Super Trucker podcast as what might be wrong with Ralph's eye.
What might be wrong with my eye?
Yeah.
It's the allergies. I have bad allergies to bed rates.
Okay, you're allergic
right
to
now,
bad rates? Okay.
I have very bad allergies to bed rates, and right now it's worse than ever. I mean, but it'll get better.
Yeah.
I'll give it a week or two.
Yeah,
it'll be better.
it should get
Allergies
better.
to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should clear up soon. So hopefully those fun facts answer some questions about these three guys. Hey guys, I really truly appreciate you joining us on the Super Trucker podcast. I appreciate all the hard work that you do, because of you is part of what makes us successful. Your hard work with the drivers and the drivers' hard work in return, working together as a team. We'd love to have you back on again soon. Listen, Super Truckers out there, if you like this type of content, please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments below. Again, we're going to still do our live Thursday. This was just kind of a kicker while we had the dispatchers in, so we will be back live Thursday at 2 p.m. We already have some content that was asked on the last one. We'll be sure to follow up with it. As always, drive safe and keep on trucking. And again, thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, keep on rolling.
Keep trucking.
All right.
Safe trip.
Thanks, guys.
All right. You cut it off?
Not yet. The mouse is not working.
Let's go slide my way.